and women. We've had a woman on now, so I feel much better. Now we need a foreigner. So we have a man from Wales, and his name is Mark Lewis, and his story, your feedback, is appreciated. Welcome, Mark!
Yeah. Still in the glow of being the new owner of the city's oldest inn, the Hundrawn and Quartered, I tackled the dusty, cobwebbed basement. Dust and giant spiders had built up since the inn had opened in the 17th century. More interesting, however, were all the objects from different ages of the inn's working life. Most of what I found could be called junk. I found nothing which would make me rich in itself. Successive owners had mined all of the potentially valuable antiques, but left plenty of characterful ephemera, horse brasses, flood-damaged Guinness posters, rusty farm machinery, one-armed bandits which took shillings. The basement was rich in worthless mementos. There was one item I found at the bottom of a pile of old picture frames that would prove to be life-changing. It was a brass box with a slot at the top, covered in the dust of many years. Engraved on the front panel were the words, "We appreciate your feedback." I sprayed some polish on it and wiped it with a J-cloth. That's when there was a sudden explosion of green. I staggered back, but caught myself. What I saw then made me wonder if I had hit my head and was hallucinating. For what I saw, standing on top of the box, was what appeared to be a tiny genie. Arabian trousers, sash belt, curling slippers, round belly, goatee beard, hooped earrings, hair in a top knot, green skin, and a wide gold-toothed smile. "The customer is always right, their wish is my delight," he said. "Do I get 3 wishes?" I asked, suspending disbelief for a moment. If I was hallucinating, why not buy into it? He shook his head. "Alas, those days are long gone. I was the genie of the magic lamp. When I lived in the lamp, I was able to grant 3 wishes to whosoever owned the lamp. Now, however, I am the genie of the magic suggestion box." What happened? Well, he beamed a big smile and looked sideways. The truth? The wishes, they had an unfortunate habit of turning out wrong. A wish would, in an ironic way, become twisted. Every time, for example, someone would wish for great riches, their bank account would then receive true riches. The next morning they would hear they'd been credited with a large amount of money because all of the family had died in an accident. Unfortunate indeed. So what happened to the lamp? One particularly disappointed owner, who happened to own this very inn, had it melted down. The metal was then used to make a suggestion box. The idea was that the customer is always right, so customers would be better people to make wishes than owners. If you think about it, it's the best business plan in the world ever. Customers give feedback, the feedback instantly becomes reality. Face it, you've hit the jackpot. What could possibly go wrong? So, why is the box here in the basement, covered in dust? The owners were mortal, they died. Simple as. How about it? Do you want to run the best inn in the world? A nagging respect for the dark outcomes of fairy tales told me to say no. My ambition and greed, however, said yes. I gave the suggestion box pride of place, screwed in over a table with a sheaf of feedback forms. From time to time it gave off a green glow. I passed it off as a lighting feature when a customer asked. When they had wanted to know how it worked, I tapped my nose and said trade secrets. They wouldn't have believed it anyhow. The opening day was a success. We were busy, the atmosphere was lively, but without getting out of hand. There were no complaints I was aware of. The feedback from the bar staff was positive and the kitchen was relatively calm, compared with some I'd experienced. The chef's temperament was calm, his sense of humour intact, even if his cooking was, if I'm honest, mediocre. It was good enough for pie and chips. I'd begun to wonder what would happen if the feedback was only positive with no suggestions. I needn't have worried. The great British public will always find something. I polished the suggestion box at the end of the day. There were green sparks this time, and the genie appeared. I guess I knew who was coming, so there was no need for a dramatic entrance. He held several feedback forms as big as him. What have you got? I asked. Mostly positive. I've chosen one. Can't choose. You could, but then you get into the realm of your own wishes. You know how that turns out? Okay, I guess. It seemed to be a legitimate argument. He shuffled the papers. This was awkward given their size. Then, he read. Disappointed that he didn't have any tomato ketchup. At that, he tore up the genie-sized feedback form. The pieces smoked, caught fire, and disappeared. Then the genie did a dance, which started off as a jaunty bounce, followed by a moonwalk, culminating in breakdancing, spinning around on his head. Then, upright again, he said, "The customer is always right, their wish is my delight." More smoke. "Go see," he said excitedly. I couldn't quite muster any excitement, but went to see. In the kitchen, sure enough, in the condiments cupboard, was a huge bottle of tomato ketchup. I hadn't even had to go to the shop or write down an order to the wholesalers. I couldn't help feel it was a waste of the powers of the mighty genie, but he seemed pleased enough. It was a new day with new customers. A gentleman and lady ate together who had the meanest faces I'd seen in a long time. Screwed up with anger and bitterness, the both of them. They were married. "My wife's soup was cold," the pinch-faced husband complained after his wife had eaten the bowl clean. I'm sorry," I said, putting on my best customer service smile. I turned to the wife. "Would you like a professional, madam?" "No." The voice was hollow as the grave. "It's too late, isn't it?" After the main course, the husband called me over again. "My wife's steak was too rare. Are you sure the cow's dead?" Again, the evidence of this was all in his wife's stomach. I offered another. She just stared at me like I'd evolved legs in just that moment and was coming out of the sea for the first time. As for dessert, the ice cream was too cold. I offered more. I apologised, but these were customers who wanted to be angry. I watched with helpless concern as the husband scribbled out an irate scrawl on a feedback slip. He grinned as he folded it neatly and placed it in the suggestion box. "Terrible meal," he said as a parting shot. "Have a word with the chef." As harsh as these customers were, I knew that the chef had had an off day, but I liked him. He was reliable, jolly, and he was my chef. I saw green sparks, then smoke come out of the suggestion box, followed by laughter. My heart raced. I ran to the kitchen. As I saw the outline of the chef's hat from behind, I breathed a momentary sigh of relief. Then I noticed the outline was wrong, much too thin. This wasn't my rotund friend. This was someone new. The chef turned around, his face red and angry. He was skinny, gaunt, with a pointed nose, matinee villain moustache, staring, bloodshot eyes. "Get the fuck out of my kitchen," he snarled. I could smell rum on his breath from here. "But we're going to have a good talk about your manners," I said, and then turned and left, straight to the suggestion box. I knocked on it hard 3 times. "Come out here, you little green git," I said. Another little explosion and the lid flipped up. The genie floated up and out. "You summoned me." His arms were folded. He beamed, pleased with himself. "What have you done?" "What I promised." He produced the feedback slip, the same size as him. From thin air, read it out. "Appalling service, your chef is a disgrace. Get a new one." I stared aghast. "The customer is always right, their wish is my delight," he said. "Bring my chef back," I demanded. "He was my friend, he told jokes, he left the alcohol alone. What did you do with my old chef?" The genie tapped his nose. "Trade secret." "He must be somewhere. At least let me know he's safe." Alas, alas, alas. What is done cannot be undone. A wish granted is binding is what you'll be finding. No refunds. "You bastard," I said, and pushed him back in the box, forcing the lid shut on him, then turning the key. The next day was one of those days when everything went wrong. I'd reported chef missing to the police, but I could hardly mention the genie. The police had given me a crime number. An officer would be around later. I didn't hold out much hope of seeing the chef again. I was more worried about what wishes would find their way into the suggestion box, and how the genie could twist them. The new chef, swearing and drinking aside, was at least a very good cook. There were no complaints about the food. There were lots of complaints about the chef and the other staff there, snapping at them, staring, creeping them out. Between us, we managed to keep him in the kitchen away from the customers at least. We couldn't afford any more wishes like that. I taped the suggestion box shut, binned the feedback forms. I heard banging from inside the suggestion box. I banged back. We had the usual suspects in, although blissfully the horrible couple from yesterday did not reappear. Entitled teenagers, bratty kids, awkward couples, messy eaters, people with mind-bogglingly complex dietary requirements. One family in particular were difficult. Young parents who argued for the whole meal while their small child screamed and covered himself in food, mainly baked beans. It was a furious little orange monster. I was on edge. It didn't help. Nervously, when the arguing wife moved her chair back, it hit me and I dropped the sticky toffee pudding, custard and all over her. This brought the first smile I'd seen all day from the small child, plus strangely raucous laughter from such a little one. I'm so sorry, I said. I'll get you a towel. We were short on towels. I had to get some bar towels. You know, those branded towels, like 9 bars that people rest drinks on. She was crying when I got back. She refused my help. Look what you've done, said the husband, sponging away at the skin of warm custard covering his wife. The child was still laughing. On the way out, the wife stopped when she saw the suggestion box. I'd like to give you some feedback, she said bitterly. I'm sorry, Mum, our feedback box is out of order. We are also all out of feedback forms. You can give your comments verbally. No, she said, I want this in writing. She brought out a notebook and pen and started scribbling. Meanwhile, her husband started to take the tape off the suggestion box. I'm sorry, you can't do that, I said. It's out of order. What kind of box with a slot in the top be out of order? Don't be ridiculous. I went to restrain him, but he repelled me with an evil look. You touch either of us and you'll hear from my solicitor, he said. There was nothing I could do. She finished scribbling her feedback. She dropped it in the box with a smile, self-satisfaction. Green sparks came out of the slot straight away. Everyone in the room turned and looked. It was getting hotter. The blank white sky outside had changed to a flickering, warm red and orange. I felt a bead of sweat run down my neck. For God's sake, I said to the customer who'd now gone pale, what did you write? Her voice was quiet. I said I wish you'd all just go to hell. The room continued to heat up, the wood panelling starting to blacken at the edges. I heard laughter from the suggestion box as the flames closed in.